Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Great way to start the show sneezing. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Nerdcamp Sports. It is Sunday, March 8th. I am Mike Williams. We got Raja Anthony Ali. Today, Coach will be doing the moderating. R&B will be joining us shortly. Al, you know the first question before I turn it over to Will. Everyone's mental health, 1 to 10. What is it today?
I'll say a six. I'll say a
Six?
six. Yeah,
Okay.
dealing with some family loss. Unfortunately,
Oh,
one of my aunts
Sorry to
passed
hear
away.
that.
sorry to hear that, brother.
Thank you. But you know, I learned that transitioning is a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm optimistic about a lot of things right now, man. I'm just gonna keep moving forward.
Beautiful, beautiful. How about you, Will?
Um, say a six. I'm gonna say a six. Like I say, the weather giving me good vibes. You know what I mean? Feeling good today. Feeling good about the opportunity to moderate.
I'm gonna say this is the first time I'm at a 10.
Oh,
That's
excellent,
what's up.
man.
That's what's up.
Um,
Excellent.
I am at a 10. We're still here doing this show. Honest Hour is doing good. Well, I had a great week at work. Um, uh, like things are really starting to fall into place, and I would have to say that there's no way that I couldn't see anything less than a 10 today.
Mm.
Got somewhere to be a little later, to uplift spirits. And I look at things through a different eye. One of my good friends, her son died to gun violence, and
Mm.
yesterday was the anniversary of his death. And I just look at everything today, right? I look at perspectives differently. It could
Yeah.
be a lot worse. Could it be better? It could always be better, but it could be a lot worse. So I'm gonna go with a 10 today.
Good.
R&B, what's up, bro?
What's up, man?
What up, though?
We're the mental health, and then I'm turning it over to Will. What's your mental health at today, my brother?
Uh, Probably about a four. Been a long week. Been a long month. Got a lot of shit going on. My advice to you young fellas out there: if you ain't got no kids, keep it that fucking way. They a fucking problem and a nuisance.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, I'm good, man.
Good. Good.
Oh man, well, yeah, I love my kids, but they ruin everything.
On everything,
That's right.
including your fucking life.
Yeah, once they're here, that's it forever. They're here. There's no going back. All right, where are we starting at today?
All right. Since Ryan, we gonna pivot real quick. Because Raj brought something up. I just saw this video. I was literally watching it right before I jumped in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and basically Jalen Rose was on with Fat Joe and Jadakiss, and he was explaining that there are all he said the predominantly black sports leagues are the only ones with salary caps. You know what I mean? And so he mentioned,
Mhm.
obviously the NBA and the NFL. And then he's like, well, baseball doesn't have a salary cap, which they do, just not a hard cap. Then he mentioned like golf and tennis and some other sports. So and Raj, since you brought it to the table, just go ahead and let us know what you were thinking, you know what I mean, about what he had, what he had to say about that.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because like there's a lot of stuff happening right now in sports. Like I was mentioning to the guys, before we got on the air, that the World Baseball Classic is happening right now, and I'm watching in real time the excitement around the world. Like Japan, you got the Dominican Republic, you got Mexico, you got all these teams from all across the nation, all across the world, celebrating their culture in baseball. and I was looking at Team USA, and they only got Buxton there as the black representative of the Team USA, as a black person there. And it kind of, it kind of broke my heart because, we all grew up in the 90s and we remember the golden era of the black baseball players like Ken Griffey Jr., Frank Thomas, Bo Jackson, the list goes on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? And Barry Bonds. The list goes on and on and on when it comes down to black Americans participating in baseball. So honestly, I was kind of feeling bad about that because I'm like, damn, the black culture is dying in baseball, or the baseball is dying in black culture. But also, when I came across Jalen Rose's video talking about the salary caps only on black sports like football and basketball, or predominantly football and basketball, I had to think about that for a second. I said, wow, he might have a great point, because if you really think about it, leagues like, like baseball, it doesn't really have a hard cap. And people can make any type of money. They can form a super team. So I'm just curious on what everyone thought about that. Like, do you think that's some type of conspiracy? Do you think it's intentional? Do you think it's by accident or coincidence? Like, honestly, I think it's intentional. And I'm saying that because there's certain things that we bring outside of sports that brings in more money. And if we get paid the type of money, like let's say a Shohei Ohtani, and make like damn near $1 billion off a contract, and you add that with like the Nike money or, the other endorsement deal money, you're looking at close to about $4 or $5 billion as potential. Like, imagine LeBron James not having a salary cap. You get what I'm saying? Like, LeBron can bring in damn near $2 billion off of a contract, plus another $2 billion off of endorsements or more. So I think there's limitations because they know the potential that we have outside of just the actual sport. Like, no shade against Shohei Ohtani, but I've never seen that man speak on a mic. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has no charisma when it comes down to his personal brand and his personal self-awareness out there in the field. Like, if Shohei Ohtani was American, if he was Asian American, and he spoke like 100% legit English, I think he would have like he'd probably be like one of the biggest stars in America or biggest star in the world. But imagine somebody, once again, going back to what I was saying about LeBron, with the charisma, his swag, his brand awareness, like that man would be close there, damn near $4 or $5 billion. That would be his net worth every single year or every single season. He'd be bringing in crazy cash. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I would say this. What is one thing we talk about when we talk about faces? Like, you would say, like if you had to say right now, who's the face of the NBA?
It's still LeBron.
LeBron.
Or who would you say is the face of the NFL?
The face of the NFL, I would say probably Patrick Mahomes.
So who's the face of MLB?
Shohei Ohtani.
Now, what's the difference between the three of them?
I don't know. You tell me.
You said it in your art, in your tape.
What about him not speaking English?
Yes. And what does that make him? Not marketable.
Okay.
He's marketable in playing, but outside of that, he's not, right? Patrick Mahomes, we've seen him in insurance commercials. We've seen LeBron in all these endorsements. I would say that, baseball has a luxury tax, but it's something they don't really like. Owners just pay the shit. They're like, whatever, we could give you $1 billion and then still pay the luxury tax.
Right.
But I think that it is intentional to the point of they know they can utilize, the players can utilize marketability and getting all these other things to bring eyes to the league. I don't agree with it. But on the other hand, guys don't want to play basketball forever or football forever, and their bodies can't handle it forever. Not saying that baseball, they do play a lot of games and stuff, but if you're a pitcher, you're not pitching every day. You
Right.
pitch Monday, you might not pitch again until Friday or Thursday. You get rest. You know, so I don't want to spend too much time on everyone to be able to go, but I would say that I think that it is partially intentional because there's some other things that they know they can get out of players. And these leagues they build their legacy and they build everything off the back of black and brown players. You look, and that's just what it is when it comes down to those two leagues specifically. Whereas baseball, like we said off air before we came on, my opinion is that that sport was never for us. They did not want Jackie Robinson in the league. Like that's just, or playing baseball on that level.
Well, I gotta push back on that a little bit. The reason why I'm saying it's because it literally is our sport. we had the Negro League.
But hold on, I got another pushback on that.
Okay.
How many inventions have black people invented and don't get credit for? Washer, dryer,
Yeah, no,
microwave,
I get it.
refrigerator. Listen, it's the same thing. They take it from us, and I know this is a little off topic, but I'm going to say this, and I hope this don't get the black community mad or get us canceled, but I don't like celebrating Juneteenth. Do you know why? Juneteenth's been around for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when the white man said we're gonna make it a holiday, that's when we decided to celebrate. We weren't celebrating before that. So I had to wait for them to say it was okay for us to have that day.
Can I push back on that, Mike? We were taught white history all day, every day, for the most part in school. I was fortunate. The school district I was in when I was in elementary and middle school, my principal was black, my vice principal was black, all my teachers was black. Like it was all black everything at Highland Park. Okay, so our curriculum was a little different. I was taught about Juneteenth. Most people
Right.
weren't. So you're not wrong in saying that once white people said it, but once they started talking about it is when most people learned about it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of hard to celebrate something. We were taught to celebrate the 4th of July and Thanksgiving and Columbus Day and all this other bullshit that we know is bullshit now. That they told us, you know what I mean, was a part of American history and shit. They didn't, nobody, most people didn't get taught about that. So I think that's a false equivalency.
Well, it depends where you grew up.
I agree. I didn't say everybody. I didn't say nobody learned about it. I said most people did. So again, like I say, where I grew up, I did. You're right. I mentioned that part. You know what I mean? When I talked about the educators that I had, that was my,
Right.
that's why I brought that up. You know what I mean? So you're right. I'm agreeing with you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, R&B. You were trying to get
I
in
would
there.
say, yeah, I would say that it's I would tend to lean to say that it's partially intentional as well because let's not forget, even though basketball and football are sports predominantly, being that they're predominantly black sports. At one point in time, they weren't that. At one point in time, they were all white sports.
That's
Football
a
was a
fact.
white boy sport.
Yeah.
Basketball was a white boy sport. We had to fight our way into it. You know what I'm saying? We had to fight our way into these leagues. And that's why I say that it was partially intentional because I feel like at a certain point when they started doing like free agency and all of these different things started getting integrated into the game, you know what I'm saying? they were paying attention to the numbers, but they were also paying attention to the influx of the black players that were starting to come in and the
Mm-hmm.
revenue that could be earned off of the black players that were coming in because of how good they fucking were. So I think that it's a one of them things where I say they were already fucking their own. They were already fucking their own white people. And then when we came into the game, they decided to fuck us right along with them. So it's one of them things where, you know what I'm saying, y'all know how I am. So I'm gonna plead the fifth on some of this because I don't want to go into it. But it's one of them things where I look at it and I say, if they don't give a fuck about their own, what make them think they was gonna give a fuck about us? You know what I'm saying? They don't.
Mhm.
The white man don't give a fuck about their own, so they damn sure don't
Yeah.
give a fuck about us. So, but as far as all of that other stuff y'all getting into, I'm gonna plead the fifth on that because that take me in a whole different direction. Y'all kind of know where I stand on a lot of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna just stay away from it and keep it strictly on sports. But yeah, that's how I see it. Yeah, I think it was like one of them things that was like a bug popped on and they ran with it.
Mm.
Yeah, no, it's I hear that. I hear that. It sucks, but we'll never know the truth. That's for sure, because they don't want us to know.
Man,
Oh, we
I
don't know.
mean, a lot of
We
times
don't
you just got to be able to be aware of what it is you're seeing. You don't always need them to tell you.
Right.
But
That's
No,
true.
you're right.
yeah. But few things. Hockey also has a hard cap. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Hockey has a hard cap as well. Um, I understand what he's saying, and I agree. I've said same stuff he was saying. I've said a lot of these things before. I don't feel like golf or tennis are fair comparisons because for the most part, those are individual sports. So you know what I'm saying? You literally get paid off of, you know what I mean, how well you do. You know what I mean, where you place at in that day's tournament. Same with tennis, you know what I mean? It's one on one or doubles 2-on-2 or whatever. So I don't think those are like good comparisons. I think it's more like the NCAA, the NBA, and the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to a certain degree with the NFL, when you're talking about 53-man rosters and the violent nature of that game, I do think some of it makes sense to have, you know what I mean, a salary cap because it's a lot more overturn in football than it is basketball, baseball for a lot of, obviously, again, people getting injured, everything like that for a lot of different reasons, underperformance of contracts, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you are seeing people starting to get more and more guaranteed money in those contracts too. And it's still crazy to me that Kirk Cousins got the first ever like fully guaranteed, you know what I mean, contract in NFL history. That shit is wild to me. The NBA it was definitely about money. I don't know if y'all remember this, but so when Mike came out of retirement the first time, I think he had a year left on his contract, year and a half left on his contract. Had to be a year and a half because he finished out his contract and then he renegotiated 1 year contracts from there on with the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
He got 25 million, I think, the first year, 30 million the
know.
second year, and 35 the third year, which
35 to
was
30. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which was damn near, I believe the salary cap at that time was roughly $40 million. He was making more than some people's whole teams. You know what I mean? And that's when they started
He still was
instituting.
underpaid.
You say who?
Yeah. He was still
Are you
I
saying
underpaid.
said
still
still was
underpaid? Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
most
underpaid.
definitely. Hey, look, that's where Mike he was underpaid his whole career. He was before he started signing them 1 year deals. He was making like 2 million a year, which again, this is the '90s or whatever, so the contracts wasn't like they are now. But he was still, underpaid because he had signed a long contract, so that's why he stuck it to their asses them last 3 years. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think the NBA saw that and that's when they really started trying to institute penalties because for certain breaches of the salary cap. In part to try to keep people, you know what I mean? Like, man, look, I ain't about to pay this motherfucker. Cause like I think Raj said it. If LeBron was on the open market, you would
Mm-hmm.
have to pay LeBron 100 million a year. And
Yep.
that's 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. God knows what it would be right now. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I will say about it is what the salary cap does is bring the floor up for everybody else.
Hmm.
A lot the mid tier guys and the lower tier guys, they get paid more money than they would otherwise, than they would in the open market. But the LeBrons, the Stephs, the KDs, God only knows what kind of money they will be making. But it is a control mechanism. You know what I'm saying? In a whole lot of ways. And like I say, I feel like it's more like the NCAA is more like that comp. You know what I mean? Y'all been making billions and billions of dollars for how long, and feeling like you shouldn't have to pay these players. Everybody shouldn't get paid, but don't hit me with that amateurism. It's all got to be equal and even. Like you don't give a fuck about if it's all about equality on the college level, then why y'all don't care about all these other college students on these college campuses transferring or getting whatever they get from whoever they know? Like, nah, you can't sell me on that. Y'all just don't want to pay them. Y'all want to keep all the money for yourself. So it is a lot of control mechanisms, you know what I mean, that play.
That's fact. Definitely.
Absolutely.
All right. We're gonna keep it moving. Max Crosby to the Ravens. Wow, look, I know I wasn't the only one who had some mixed emotions like this because I would love to see Max Crosby in a Lions jersey. But I just wanted to, like hear y'all thoughts on that. What, both perspectives. What you think about the move that Oakland made, what they got, you know what I mean, they thought process, and what you think about, him being in Baltimore now. Whether you feel like this helped them, you know what I mean, take that next step in you know what I mean, what this looks like for them moving forward. You want to go ahead and take this one first, Mike?
Yeah. You
I know,
know,
I see the pain in the eyes, brother.
life of a Steelers fan. Life of a Steelers fan. Oh my God. I read this and like I made that video in real time. I don't know if you've seen the video I made about it, but I seen it and I immediately made the video. I'm going to say this. Max Crosby, ultimately, we know he didn't want to be there. That's first and foremost. His prime is being wasted there. Oakland has not, or Las Vegas has not been able to put anything in front of their fans like almost ever. Like, like at least in the time I've been watching, right? So it's just they just really needed something. They got 2 first rounders, I believe, for him, right?
Mm-hmm. 26 and
So
27.
so I think, could they have maybe gotten more potentially, but I don't think they made out bad. As for the Ravens, it seems like every year this team finds a way to get some big name player, and it just makes me want to just gouge my eyes out as a Steelers fan because we can't even pick a quarterback, but they can get Peter, Paul, Bobby, Sammy, and all of New Edition or whoever you want to say. Or whoever you want to say. I'm just making a
Bobby,
name.
Ricky, and Mike.
Like, like they get everybody.
Like Max, who cares who you like?
So I'm going to keep it short, but my opinion on the move for Baltimore, it is good. It's going to help their defense, especially if Hamilton's healthy, because let's be honest, Hamilton getting injured in that game against Pittsburgh at the end of the season is what helped us win that game because he was destroying us. And then he got hurt, and suddenly the Steelers were able to do some stuff. So you got Hamilton on one side, Crosby on the other. That makes a stronger defense and makes them definitely more dangerous. But ultimately, we know it ain't going to be about all the way about the defense when the season comes. It's going to be about King Henry. It's going to be about Lamar. It's going to be about Mark Andrews, who they just paid. So you got to go out there and play like an all-pro tight end now. Like now that you can't be dropping passes, you got to be involved. So I think this move is good for them defensively. However, if the offense is what typically seems to find a way to fall flat or not be able to get the job done. I don't really fault their defense for the things last season, but I think ultimately in terms of the trade, it's a good move for Baltimore. I think Oakland got or Las Vegas got, they got compensated well, and yeah, the life of a Steelers fan. That's my take.
Man, I gotta get in here. I gotta get in here next behind that bullshit because I'm tired of hearing Mike cry about the Steelers, which is one of the most well-renowned, one of the greatest franchises of all time. They arguably one of the top 5 franchises of all time. Yeah, y'all been having a rough slump. You didn't do the right things when it came to Ben Roethlisberger at the end. I get it. You've been looking for a quarterback since being left. I get it. I don't dispute none of that. But
and real quick, if you're tired of hearing about it, you might as well get a pillow and go to sleep because I ain't gonna stop till we do what we need to do. Just saying.
Hey, that's all fine and dandy, but just because you ain't gonna stop don't mean that you writing your crime. Babies cry for bullshit sometimes. And they also cry because they sleepy. So this the thing about it. As a Lions fan, and as a person who sat up and watched the Cleveland Browns and shit like that over the years, to hear you sit up and say the shit that you say week in and week out about a franchise that it has been, I would say, over 85% competent throughout their existence, you unappreciative. But when it comes to the Max Crosby thing, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's a piece that you look at that you like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Why couldn't we try to make those moves to try to help improve our $175 million defense that fell off the face of the earth last year when we finally was able to get competent quarterback play out of Aaron Rodgers? So, but same for me as a Detroit Lions fan, I could look at it the same way. But I feel like I have more cause for my complaint and my anger because it's like we don't make the requisite move. We don't have Super Bowls. Pittsburgh has Super Bowls. Lions don't have no championships.
Six of them, right?
We don't. Yeah, we haven't been to one single Super Bowl. And then as far as the Ravens side of it, I do agree with you there, Mike. I do agree that at the end of the day, we're still going to be looking at what Derrick Henry and what Lamar Jackson are able to do next year. But where I disagree with you again is when you said that you don't blame Baltimore's defense for any of the problems that they had last year. Well, my fellow, you must not have been watching the season because that defense was absolutely garbage. It was one of the most highly touted and expected defenses going into the season, so is the Steelers, and did not show up at all. Go look at the numbers. They were god-awful. They were terrible. The Ravens' defense was terrible last year. It wasn't just Lamar, and it wasn't just Lamar injuries. It wasn't just Derrick Henry fumbles. It wasn't just bad coaching from Harbaugh. That defense was bad, along with the Steelers' defense. So that's going to be my take on it, is that I think you need to ease up a little bit, being somebody that's a fan of a franchise that's for the most part been good rather than bad, but you get on here and talk about them like they the Lions or the Broncos.
Well, let's look at this a little differently. Much like you watch all the Detroit Lions games, I make sure I watch all these games, right, from my team. Mm-hmm. Would you say that competent quarterback play? There were a lot of times during the season where our offense was dry, like desert dry. And what does that mean for your defense when that happens? They got to work harder. There were plenty of times we had 4, 5, 6 3-and-outs in a row. What's going to happen?
I'm not about to let you do that. I'm not about to.
No. I let you have your soliloquy. It's my turn.
No.
It is my turn. No. Football can't be a team sport when you want it to be.
It proves that you are not watching the games. You're a highlight. You're a highlight highlighter. You are a highlight highlighter. You don't watch the games, bro.
Bro, I'm telling you, there are points.
Aaron Rodgers gave y'all the lead against the sorry ass fucking, who was it? The fucking Bengals with no Joe Burrow. He gave you 35 points and your defense gave up 38 to Joe Flacco in the first week start on limited practices who had just got there. Stop.
So one game dictates.
Come on, man. Anybody
many games? No.
I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers was an MVP.
No, we ain't doing that shit. No, we're not doing that. You're not going to sit up here and do that. No. Because there were points where Rodgers was stagnant and the defense was out there.
Yeah,
that's
with
everything.
No offensive line,
that's everything.
With no running game, with a shell of a DK Metcalf who wasn't DK Metcalf this year, and nothing else to work with. Pat Freiermuth? Stop.
So you're making excuses for Aaron Rodgers then. There you go. You proved my point.
For this horrible ass defense, and your front office
point.
Nothing around
the problem. It was Rodgers.
You brought in a 42-year-old quarterback and expected him to take you to the promised land with nothing. Wait
a minute, hold up. So what happened in the beginning of the season when we were talking? You were like, "What if Rodgers brings you to the Super Bowl?" And I told you that wasn't gonna happen. And you like, you never know.
Didn't I tell you they was gonna win the division though? Didn't I tell
you? No, don't change the narrative. Answer the question. You said, "What if Rodgers brings you to the Super Bowl?" Right or wrong?
I said, "What if?"
Yes. Yeah. That means in your mind there was potential that could happen. That you believed in his play so much that could happen.
Did we not see the way the NFL season just played out last year? It was god awful. The Super Bowl was god awful. It sucked. It was horrible. So you telling me if y'all give Aaron Rodgers a decent running game and maybe one more weapon to throw to outside of a sorry ass DK Metcalf who was not DK Metcalf last year, he couldn't have threatened to get y'all to the Super Bowl when y'all won the division? I told you that they could win the division because I didn't trust Lamar.
Real quick.
And what happened?
I want to interject real quick. Mike, you know damn well they wasn't going to make the Super Bowl. We all knew they weren't going to make the Super Bowl.
I never said that. When did I say that they were going to make the Super Bowl?
Hold on. Let me finish my statement real quick. But in the defense, R&B definitely did say, what if? He didn't say
but that leaves room for potential. I said he said what if.
But they won the division. That you didn't even have them winning the division. You said they weren't going to win the division. So you really can't blame Aaron Rodgers for whatever because he got you guys to the playoffs. He did his job.
He exceeded your expectations.
Exactly. See, we can't look at it as being, oh, well, we don't have a good team. You guys made the playoffs. You guys did what you had to do. Now, did you have a solid team? Okay, I'm just saying. What do you expect? Because your expectations in the beginning of the season was we're not even going to win a division. They won a division.
Hey, let's be honest. That shit shouldn't have happened. If we being honest, that shit shouldn't even happen.
No, it shouldn't happen. Because
they won that motherfucker, and I can't take it away from them. But it ain't no reason that they really should.
Because I had the Baltimore Ravens winning that division, but unfortunately,
I had the Baltimore Ravens winning it. Remember when I picked the Steelers to win it, I said Baltimore should win the division, but I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to pick the Steelers because I trust Aaron Rodgers more than I trust Lamar Jackson. Joe Burrow is not going to go anywhere because that team sucks. And the Browns are the fucking Browns.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to look at it like this. Yes, you got Max Crosby to the Ravens. Great. That's wonderful. But at the end of the day, can they win the division? My answer is no. I don't think they can because there's so many questions on the offensive end. There's injuries, there's players that's regressing, and we got to look at it like this. If Henry can't do what he needs to do, then this team ain't going nowhere. It's pretty much on the back of him and Lamar. Now, of course, we can blame others and say, well, they need a good tight end. You know, they need this, they need that. They need a wide receiver. But it boils down to Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And the defense is definitely going to be an upgrade for the defense if we got Max Crosby. That's no question. But the question is, can they complete and finish the games and put up points? Because last season there was injuries and they couldn't complete the games. So I don't really have high expectations for the Baltimore Ravens, even with Max Crosby as their guy now on the defense.
Look at how they started the season. Look at how they started the season against was that Buffalo? You
Yeah.
were up damn near 25 points on Buffalo. Everybody turned from that game. Went to sleep and woke up the next morning and said, "What the fuck?" And it was downhill from there.
Yeah. 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 That's facts.
Huh?
Oh man, that game.
I feel like Mike had made mention of possibly, maybe if Oakland, undersold, maybe they could have got more. I feel like Oakland should have did this shit 2 years ago. Because they really wasn't going nowhere.
Las Vegas.
And the 27-year-old Max Crosby gets you more in return than a 29-year-old Max Crosby. You know what I'm saying? Like that matters. Even though we all know Max Crosby been balling and he play hurt and everything and still show up and it's productive. But especially in the NFL, you know what I mean, you can fall off a cliff like that. So that 30-year-old, benchmark is kind of a big deal. But I feel like, Oakland still so high on them, which was a smart move for them. They need to get some resources, for this quarterback that they about to draft, this rookie they about to draft, number one, Mendoza. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? They need to put some pieces around him. So wise move on their end, finally going ahead and selling high on that. In regards to the Ravens, I don't know if this is the only piece, but it's a big piece. Max Crosby is a finisher. You know what I'm saying? He get the offense off the field and he make big plays in the fourth quarter. Over the last 5 years, I think it might be only one other person that got more sacks and more tackles for loss than him in the fourth quarter. So I do feel like that's going, when you got an elite pass rusher, that's one of those positions that helps everybody on the field. You know what I'm saying? The other linemen, the linebackers, and the secondary. So you know what I mean. They still got some moves they need to make. I still feel like they need, you know what I mean. I ain't gonna say necessarily like a top shelf receiver like a Justin Jefferson per se, but I feel like they need something more in that offense. Derrick Henry, I don't think Derrick Henry is the issue. He ran for almost 1,600 yards. Like I don't think he's the problem. You know what I mean? And that's with Lamar missing. You know what I mean? How many other games Lamar missed? Um, I don't think he's the issue. I think Lamar being out last year, in and out. They lost 3 close games at the beginning of the season that they easily could have won, probably should have won. You run that season back, you know what I mean, 1,000 times, or say 10 times. You run that season back 10 times, it might have been a whole different season for them. But that's how the NFL is. You only got 17 games. You know what I mean? Which is why every Sunday is so important. But I think it was the rare win-win, you know what I mean, transaction. I think both teams got what they needed out of it. I don't think that Baltimore necessarily got to win the Super Bowl to justify the move. When you got a talent like that you can acquire, it usually makes sense to acquire that kind of talent.
That's facts.
And Mike, real quick, I ain't trying to pile on you, bro, but for real, like we fucking Lions fans, man. Cut that shit out. I
I don't want to
I
hear
I
that
I
shit.
look, I done seen them motherfuckers win too, and I told you I'm not a Steelers fan because I used to
I
rock
don't
with
want to hear
I rock
that.
with my Titans and my Oilers. I don't fuck with the Steelers, but you can't tell me that they don't. This is typical shit of them, but that they Greg Lloyd, Kevin Green, Rod Woodson, Palomalu, James Harrison,
Mm-hmm.
Hampton. Like, bro, no, cut that shit out, man. They don't necessarily trade for big names, and they don't necessarily sign big name free agents. You're right, but they draft well and find that kind of talent. Fucking what? Like, no, bro, cut it out, man.
They don't draft well enough because they don't have a quarterback. I'm done arguing about this. Next topic. I'm done arguing with y'all over this. I don't care. I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna say what I gotta say. Y'all don't like it? Get a pillow. Go to bed.
Hey,
That's it. That's
Draft
it.
Big Ben,
hey,
but
hey,
you
listen,
can't
listen,
draft Big
listen. No,
Ben.
listen. Steelers fans, Patriots fans, and fucking Cowboys fans. I just can't with y'all sometimes. And
Oh,
at least y'all got championships behind it. I can give you that. Cowboys fans is the worst because they don't win shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's gonna be all right, bro. It's gonna be all right. This is what the
Listen,
Steelers do. They
hey,
figure this
hey,
shit
hey,
out.
hey, hey, don't leave Phillies fans out or Eagles fans.
Nah, but
They annoying as
they're
hell
one of
too.
the past
I mean,
players.
That don't
everybody
mean
know
they
that.
ain't annoying as hell.
Listen, everybody know that all the Philly fans is assholes. Like that's not, you know what I mean, a secret.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
at all.
That's not any kind of secret.
Yeah.
But what I will say about Phillies fans, they are equal opportunity assholes. You know what I'm saying? Players,
Word.
owners, other fans, media, like they want all the smoke and all the action. I will give them that. You know what I'm saying? They don't play them kind of games.
That's a good point. Very good point.
Oh man.
um, all right, we're gonna keep it rolling. We're gonna keep it rolling. I don't know if anybody saw anything about this or got a chance to read the article. I saw the article on ESPN. But Donald Trump just held this meeting at the White House earlier this week. They say it was 50, 60 people there, plus some media. He had Nick Saban up there. Like he had names up there, but basically he's and lip. So when I put that, what I sent to y'all, this is literally his words. That's why I put the quotations around it. He said that he's about to draft an all-encompassing executive order for college sports. So basically, our president just said, you know what? Hold my beer. I'm about to fix this shit.
Mm,
um no, not just with all the complexities that come with trying to figure out what college sports looks like moving forward, but this goofy motherfucker getting involved. You know what I'm saying? Just what are y'all thoughts on this? What it could look like, like tell me what you thinking. Where does this take your mind? You know what I mean, in regards to college sports and like because I want these kids to get paid. The ones that deserve to get paid should get paid, but shit is getting real messy. You know what I mean? And I'm concerned about what college sports is going to look like moving forward. Uh, R&B, you want to go ahead and jump in on that one?
I'll keep it 100 with you. I didn't get a chance to see all of what he had to say about it after you had shared it. I did go check out some of the video, and quite honestly, I'm not mad at the ideal that the president is seeing that something needs to be done and someone needs to be getting involved.
Mm,
But for him to be the one to realize and actually try to do it is what worries me because, like you just said, we know that this orange motherfucker is a goofball. But at the same time, it's like, why the fuck hasn't the NCAA and their leadership seen this problem and decided to, step up and try to figure out something that can be done because it is messy. It's a lot going on. You got a lot of these athletes coming in getting paid. Saying some of them well deservingly, some of them maybe not so much deservingly, but saying they're young people seeing a lot of money and saying it's just getting a little out of hand. We got motherfuckers jumping from school to school. And outside of that, what worries me the most as a fan of sports overall, I don't want to see in either one of these games get ruined. And that's preferably more so
mm,
related to football and basketball. I don't want to see the game
right,
get ruined.
right.
And I'm just, call me what you want. A lot of people will say, "Oh man, you an Uncle Tom," or this and that about these type of comments. But bro, I don't want to see motherfuckers go, flash in college, make $10 million, and then get drafted and decide to say fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like as a hard working fan who has to work hard to pay money to go to these games, I want to see the best product put on the games. I
hmm
mean, put on the floors and the fields. And if we're getting privileged if we're turning these motherfuckers into privileged motherfuckers to where they feel like they no longer have to give us as the hard working fans that, the game ruins itself at that point. And that's kind of where I'm at on it. So I hope that they do it in the right way. I don't want to see it turn into a situation where now the student athletes began to be fucked over. I want them to get some type of reciprocation. I've made mention in the past and having conversations with just friends that I feel like there needs to be some type of stipend program where they're not handed all of this money, just here like that. It needs to be stipend to them. It should be a contract, a stipend, some type of stipend contract that they sign, that they get, a certain amount of money throughout the 4 years. And if you don't play the 4 years, you don't get the 4 year pay. You get the 3 year pay. And that would more so be in reference to football. With basketball, it should be a year by year stipend. You sign the contract. First year you get this, second year you get this. You stay all four. This will be the total. You get a stipend for each year you decide to stay. But when you sign up for these teams, unless it's just some shit that where it's like, you being played, or you being blackballed, or you being you just can't get on the court because there's too many people at your position that's better than you. Then all of this jumping ship to other schools and stuff, it gotta stop. It gotta stop. We got motherfuckers trying to stay in college until they 30,
Yeah.
playing sports. So I don't want to see a 30-year-old man play against 18-year-olds. I don't want to see that in college. It may happen in the pros when you get a phenom like a LeBron or something like that, or somebody who's young enough and good enough to make that jump to the league or whatever. But as far as in college, NCAA sports, I don't want to see a dude 29, 30 years old in his 6, 7 year of college playing against 18, 17-year-olds. It's just not fair. So it's definitely messy, and it definitely needs to be some type of governance around the NCAA. We've all been saying it for years, even before the NIL shit came in. We've been saying it, so that's kind of where I'm going.
Quick question. Um, so part of it is that we had, you know what I mean, the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and all these. It was a lot of waivers granted, you know what I mean, for kids. And again, some of these is real grown ass men. Like I know what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. So that's in the mix, and also a lot of players have been getting injury waivers too, stretching that shit out. Do you
I'm not
think?
I'm not mad
No,
at
no,
the
no, no,
injury
no.
waiver.
Let me. So that's. Do you think it? Do you think NIL? I guess kind of gave older dudes an incentive to stick around. You know what I mean? Because it's not that people, we so used to seeing, especially in the NBA, we so used to seeing people come out at 19, 20, and at one point in time
Yeah.
coming out of high school or whatever. We forget that people used to come out of college at 22 and 23 years old and go be a pro. You know what I mean? Do you think
Mhm.
that NIL has kind of incentivized people who might not necessarily feel like they can make it to the pro league, but they can go get this NIL money? Like, is that what I hear you saying?
Uh, that's a tough one. That's a good question. I,
And a reason I ask that is because once you get to a certain age, like most of them dudes done went and been professional at something, so they not
yeah.
necessarily NCAA, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
eligible. But it might be dudes out here who just knew they could hoop. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, I got eligibility. Can I go hoop and get some of this NIL money? Like, do you feel like that's happening?
Yeah, I do feel like that's happening. As far as and that's the tricky part, because
Mm.
I look at you. I think we are going to look at it a little different for each sport.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We know that this is mainly football and basketball because they're the
Mm,
black dominated sports. So that's why they
mm,
looking at it like, oh, the niggers are going crazy. We got to get a hold on it. You know what I'm saying? But they not paying attention to a motherfucker like Carson Beck, who's a
Yeah.
perfect example for
I
me
was.
for
mm,
NC for football. This
right.
motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro.
I was
How
gonna
many
bring that up.
deals and how many teams? Go
I was
ahead,
gonna bring
Roger. I'm
that.
gonna let you get
Look,
in off the Carson
No,
Beck insinuation. My bad.
yes, no, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that everything R&B saying, I want to add on to that because this is the problem. You got people like Carson Beck, who's going from team to team, getting, 7, 8, $10 million contracts from these NIL deals, right? And he's
mhm,
getting paid from the team, and he knows. See, because look, let me just say this real quick, and I'm not gonna be long. There's levels to this, right? So
mhm,
you got your top tier, or I would say lottery picks, quarterbacks and wide receivers, and those type of players. And in
mhm,
basketball, same thing. You got your lottery, right? You 1 through 14. Then you got your lower level guys, right? You got your
Second
lower
tier.
second tier guys, guys that can probably come off the bench and have a good career at what they do or whatever, so on and so forth, and collect a pretty good check. Now, then there's that third tier, which is that tier that might be a second rounder or a seventh rounder if you're if you're playing football, right?
Mhm.
Now, with that being said, why would a person like Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck or somebody like that kid Raviola, whatever his name is over there in Nebraska, right?
Nebraska, yeah.
Why would they leave in NCAA if they can make 7-8 million in the NCAA, and when they come to the NFL, they're only making like 2-3 million as a second or third, fourth, fifth round pick. You see what I'm saying? So they're like, I'd
Yeah,
rather,
and it's unfair because you got to get out the way for the next wave
and that's a
because it's a
fact.
constant wave coming in each year. So
Yeah,
that's
Wait,
and
what
wait,
makes it
wait, wait, wait,
unfair
wait.
to the
What you
young
wait?
ones coming in.
What you mean? What you mean? You got to get out the way for the next wave, though.
most of these people just taking up these NIL deals and going from school to school to school, and they're playing like 7 years. Most of these kids are playing more than 4 years. They're playing more than 4 years. I'll say that. I'm not going to
But
over exaggerate it.
Yeah,
no,
because
but
I
that's
think
all. But
Carson Beck played like 6, and he didn't have no injuries.
No
okay, wait,
injuries,
wait.
nothing. He did blame the pandemic though. He did get that
No,
extra
but
year for that pandemic.
that's what I'm saying though. This was not a thing in the 80s, 90s,
No,
aughts, or the teens. This is
no.
a now thing, and due in large part to the pandemic because we basically lost like a season and a half, kind of. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Which is
but
a big part of the reason that's why I was asking Ryan what I was asking him. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Raj.
no, it's fine. And I'm gonna end with this. I'm gonna say, but that is true, and we using those guys that were a part of that pandemic era, right?
Mm.
But there's other players, and we know who they are. They're playing 5-6 years, and they're getting that. I don't know what it's called exactly because I'm not like 100% with college sports, but I know there's like an eligibility, like red shirt and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
red
yeah.
shirt years, they could use that, and they could play up to like 7 years. So these dudes are damn near mid 20s. They're like 25, 26 years old still
Mm,
because they know they can't make it in the NFL.
yeah.
They know that.
Mm.
They in the back of their mind, they're like,
And
yeah, go ahead.
my bad, Raj, my
No,
bad.
you
But
good, you
you
good.
said something that triggered my ear. Some
Yeah,
of them, I don't believe that it's all of them that know they can't make it on the next level, and that's where it gets tricky. Some of them are just lazy. They don't want to try to make it on the next level. They
that's
don't care about getting to the next level to try. Or
that's
they know they feel like they probably feel like they can be good, but it's at a point where it's like, why would I pass this up to go to that? And
yeah,
like I say, it makes it unfair for the next wave that's coming in. Like you got to let them have a chance to come in and get theirs too.
It ain't
yeah.
their job to worry about the next wave coming in. No more than if we talking about a scholarship. It ain't your job to sit there and worry about the next wave of scholarships. It's your job to worry about what you trying to accomplish. We only hold college basketball players and football players to the standard of having to worry about every fucking body else on campus. That's some bullshit. Like,
But
no, it's your job to, you know what I mean, do your job. If you somebody that got your scholarship because you a goddamn science whiz or a computer whiz, they don't ask you to bring everybody else along. They ask you to do what you do. You know what I mean? For what they're asking you to do. So, like
right,
in the general sense, I understand what you're saying, Ryan. But no, it ain't a 18, 19, 20-year old's job to worry about the next wave of players coming in to get their NIL deal. Because if they doing what they supposed to do, they gonna get that shit anyway. Ain't nobody stopping from now that you got NIL and there's no limits to who can get what from NIL. Ain't nobody holding nobody up from no money. If you one of them people, if you was talking about red shirts, Raj. If you a red shirt freshman, you not getting no fucking NIL deal. Nobody's gonna give you that. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like
But
it's not gonna happen.
I'm gonna tell you how twisted the game is, and the reason why. And I hate to say this, but I have to agree with Trump on this because look, it's so twisted that you got people that's in the NBA right now, right? That left the NBA and they went back to college. They went back to college. First off, that's illegal. You're a professional,
No,
right?
no, 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 no. If it was illegal, they wouldn't be playing right now. I know what you're talking
No,
about. No, no, no.
right.
They were no. They didn't play in the NBA. They were drafted in the second round and never played an NBA game.
Even if they played, even if they played in the G League, that's still a professional league. It's a development league. It's still
And wait a minute, no. So Luka didn't play in the professional league before he got here. Tony Kukoc didn't play in a professional league before he got here. Dirk Nowitzki didn't play in a professional league before he got here. Like the Europeans can play. So again, when we talking about these power structures, why is it that the Europeans can play in a professional league before they made money? Ricky Rubio, whoever you want to name, they made money, which is how they were able to become lottery picks in the NBA.
I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is going back to what we call an amateur circle, which is NCAA. There's got to be a middle ground. That's my point. There's got to be a middle ground where we can say, okay, we agree that professionals are people that get paid this in this league, and amateurs are these people who are getting NIL deals in this league. Because to me, that's unfair because that spot is supposed to be for somebody that's coming out of high school or somebody that's trying to make it on a walk-on. Somebody from the NBA or someone that got drafted said, I suck so bad, I got to go back to college, right, and play in the NCAA. If my son was trying to get on that team, I would be pissed because I'm like, yo, this dude already played with professionals. He know what a professional diet is and how to do training and all this stuff. Even if he didn't play one second on the NBA court, he was there with the G League team for a whole entire year, 2 years, 3 years. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're wrong when it comes down to professionals being paid overseas, but that's a whole different thing because they come to the NBA and
it's
they
not
get paid.
we talking about players getting drafted. It's not a whole different thing. It's a different set of rules depending on where you come from. Depending on where you're born at, it's a whole different set of rules.
Well, it's also what league you're a part of because Brandon Jennings played overseas. He played overseas. He didn't go to college.
Right.
So I'm saying it depends on the
No,
league.
but he didn't go to college because he couldn't get a high enough score on the SAT. He was supposed to go to Arizona. It wasn't a talent thing or whatever the case may be. But if he went and got his back, and I'm glad you brought his name up. He said, "Man, fuck going trying to figure out how to go to JUCO. These people over here want to pay me, and I'm still going to get drafted. You know what I mean? As a lottery pick because he barely played over there. He said he learned a lot about being a professional. Right. He came back and got drafted as a lottery pick. I'm talking about if you're born in Europe, if you're born in South America, if you're born in Australia, you can go be a professional. You know what I mean? And then still come and play college basketball in America. Like it's people that have done it that came and played college basketball in America after they were a pro over there. You know what I'm saying?
Like the college systems that we have here in America. They don't have the college systems to go play at like we have here in America. So they end up going pro first, but they have to come here to America to play, you know, in the college system.
Yeah. Cool. I get all that. But I get all of that. I'm not disagreeing with that. But why is it that they can be in pro and still get amateur status in the NCAA when American-born players can't make money based off of their skill and still get amateur status in the NCAA? That's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with what you just said at all. But why is it that they can do it? It's all. I guess my point.
I guess they look at it. They're awarded a different privilege being born in America, which we all know is to a certain extent is bullshit. But
bullshit.
Bullshit. And it kind of, you know, because I know Mike didn't get an opportunity to speak, and I don't think he will go on this, but to kind of put a context on it, that's why I said there's got to be a middle ground. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to lay out better rules because the problem is right now it's kind of the wild, wild west. When I saw, I can't remember his name. I want to say Amari Bailey, I think his name is, leave the NBA. He played in the NBA.
Imani Bates.
I think that's his name. I'm not sure. He played on the Charlotte Hornets. I know he was on the Charlotte Hornets, and I watched him play on the Charlotte Hornets coming off the bench, right? He got drafted, I think, in the first round. Long story short, he went back to college. He went back to college and played in the NCAA. I'm like, this dude 2 years ago was playing in the NBA.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
I don't think that's fair. Look that up. You know what I'm saying? There's like, I think 3 or 4 players like that. But my point of bringing that up is that, you know, somebody got to step in and fix this because it's the wild, wild west. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think Trump is the one to fix it?
Probably not. but I think because he can't fix nothing. But what I'm saying is, I think it brings the attention to the people that can and that can fix it. They're going to look at it and say, all right, yeah, we got to fix this because it's getting wild. I mean, you got dudes, and I keep saying Carson Beck, but that dude, if you know how much money he made playing as bad as he plays, so mid as he plays, he makes I think what 15 million as a quarterback for Miami University. I don't know how much it is. It's up there. I know it's
So
over $10
I
million
think they paid
Hey,
him somewhere between 10 and higher.
you
Yeah.
know what?
He in the NFL now.
So he's not even trying to make it into the NFL. He just want to be a
He,
super senior.
Because
but,
he knew what his career was going to be once he got there. We haven't heard
Exactly.
of him since he been drafted.
hey,
Exactly.
look,
He
these
he
universities.
was playing for the Rams, and they chose to go out and get what was thought to be a washed up, no good Baker Mayfield to play when Stafford was hurt versus putting him on the
Wait.
field.
I'm glad you brought that name up. You remember Baker Mayfield transferred like twice, right? Before he got to Oklahoma, that wasn't his first stop.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow, you know what I mean? LSU was not his first
Yeah, he
stop.
played for
Like
Ohio State.
sometimes players need the opportunity to transfer to get like so those
But
Nick Saban and my
if you don't
wait.
remember, when I was talking, I said that. I said that. I don't have a problem with a player who good enough, but they just can't get in the game or whatever. But we got some of these cats just taking it to a whole new level. They just transferring just to transfer.
Look, and if somebody told them they're gonna give them the bag, I'm not mad at that. Because look, even the ones that we think is gonna be the truth in the NFL, more often than not, it don't work out that way. So I ain't mad at somebody for getting the bag when they can get the bag, because it ain't no guarantee that you gonna go to the NFL and be Peyton Manning or Drew Brees or Tom Brady or whoever else you want to name. There's no guarantees there. But when when the university that you are representing is making millions, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars off of you, yeah, I'm all about getting your bag. Mike, hey, look, I'm sorry, Mike, because I know we done kind of stepped all over your time, man. Go ahead and jump in, bro.
It's no, what I have to say is really kind of brings all three of your points together. It's pretty simple. I'm going to start with the point R&B made about how this move will stunt the professional leagues that we pay a lot of money to watch. Um, because you look at it, if you're a quarterback in college getting 20 million, let's just say, what the hell I need to go to the NFL for? What do I need to go for? You know, especially if you're like what I would call like a second tier player. You know, you're not the big name, right? The guy that you know that you go to the NFL, you're gonna get that big contract. You're like the guy who, if you go, you're gonna take a pay cut. You know, there's a potential you may not ever be the guy. So I think it will hurt the professional leagues in that sense. Now, on the other hand, it's good for certain players, though, right? Like if you're a player that you know you're not going to go to the league potentially, and you can make some money while you're playing college sports, or you don't want to go to the league and you're just playing sports, cool. But I don't think it should be, as Raj said, the wild wild west. I kind of would lean towards R&B's point about what you call it, like having the tier. I forget what you called it, bro. The tier system or whatever he said. How they get more each year based on if they stay and they play. But the transferring and everything, I think they just need to put some kind of structure in place for them to make it better. All right, see you later, Michelle. If they put structure in place of some sort, it'll go over a lot better. Trump coming in and saying he can fix it. Listen, I know we're not political, but bro, keep your ass out of sports. You're not even a politician. I'm watching my gas prices rise out here in New York. And a few days after I heard something you did with a war, potentially, I don't look at the politics. I don't talk politics, but I'm hearing Trump, and then I'm seeing higher gas prices. So My thought process is you doing something. Stick to whatever it is you doing there. Let college be, because someone who's in college sports should be fixing it. And that's all. They are putting this system in place. That's really all I got for that.
Okay. I know I jumped in and everybody. Oh, go ahead, Raj. Go ahead, Raj.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead, Raj.
say, Trump's getting involved in sports. He got UFC coming to the White House.
Like a show? They doing a.
Yeah, they're gonna have it on the lawn. They're gonna have it on the White House lawn.
But if Obama wanted to barbecue on the lawn, they would have crucified him, though, right?
Burn. Burn. Double standard.
Hey, look. I know I jumped in, so I'm gonna keep it real short. There's not a cell in my body that believes that Trump is the answer to any of this. I do feel like there needs to be, you know what I mean, some kind of structure to this. You know what I mean? Some guidelines and some rules. Everything needs some kind of guidelines and rules, right? You know what I mean? What I've been saying for a long time is that I'm not anti NA, and again, college basketball and football players been getting taken advantage of for so long that I guess it's just a part of me that just I ain't mad at them for getting their bag, however they get their bag. The ones that's really about that, they ain't gonna let that bag stop them from trying to get to the NFL if they're really about that. You know what I'm saying? If that's really what's in their DNA. The ones who ain't, they gonna get weeded out before they get to the pro league. You know what I mean? Because it is people who get to the pro league and get a contract, and then it's like, all right, I got my money. So I think that's going to be more of a college thing than an NBA thing when it comes to the money. If I had to do it, and again, I've been saying this for a long time, all I feel like the NCAA has to do is allow college athletes to have license, have access to their image and likeness. You know what I'm saying? The college don't necessarily have to pay you. You give them, you know what I mean? The education and the opportunity to play for your school, cool. But let them get, you know what I mean? If somebody want to pay them, you know what I mean, to promote their product, allow that. If you selling a jersey, you know what I mean? Give them a percentage. Come up with an idea for what that percentage is for of these jerseys that get sold. Because, like, look, these players are creating millions for some colleges, hundreds of millions for some colleges, maybe billions for some colleges of revenue. And don't act like they don't have nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? So again, if you let them use their image and likeness, the college don't even have to pay them. Whoever wants to pay them to endorse their product, you know what I'm saying? That comes out of their pockets, not the universities.
They have a lot to do with it. They have a lot to do with it, but that don't mean the universities have to care. I do agree with you that they should allow them to use their image and likeness. That's been one of the biggest themes for years, going all the way back to the Fab Five plus something. I agree with that point for sure. But to say that, you know what I'm saying, I have to like allow you to just come in here and run roughshod over my program.
No.
Name.
No, that's not. And I coach, so obviously that's not.
You not
you know what I'm saying?
What's going on?
Yeah, hey, but you know what? Only if you allow it. Only if you allow it. We just watched the University of Indiana. We just watched the University of Indiana win a motherfucking NCAA football championship, and it wasn't because, you know what I mean, players came in and ran roughshod or whatever the case may be. They had a coach that they believed in. You know what I'm saying? Like, leadership matters.
Older cast-offs. The average age of that team is 23 to 25. They had a lot of older cast-offs that other teams, I guess, parted ways with, didn't want, whatever the case may be.
And now a lot of them niggas about to get drafted. Like, because they took advantage of the situation that was in. These college kids, I feel like that's what college teaches you. Take advantage of the situations, you know what I mean, that you can take advantage of. Most kids go to college and change their major and all this. I know we getting off into all this other shit or whatever, but
bro, no, we all. the world is yours. But as a hard working paying fan, I don't want to be taken advantage of. And that's where it gets tricky. It's a lot of these motherfuckers that's making it into the league taking advantage. They taking advantage of
That,
the paying fans money. And we don't want to see that shit. And
I
we
don't
have
think it's the play.
we
I
don't
disagree that it's the players. I feel like it's the owners. Look, listen. You can't draft
play
yourself.
a part in it
No,
too.
no. You can't draft yourself. An organization has to draft you. You can't draft yourself. So no matter what you do in your life leading up to draft day, you cannot draft yourself. So whatever you did got you there. And it ain't the same for everybody. It's for me, it's what so for example, like the NBA getting rid of, not allowing high school players to come out anymore. There's plenty of Hall of Famers that came out of, high school, but they tried to sell it as we shouldn't have to be, scouting high school players. And it's like, well, no, if you're an NBA team, you should be scouting all of the best players, whether it's high school, college, Europe, whatever the case may be. Like it's a lot. I just feel like a lot of the leadership issues get put on the players, and the players, all their job is to do what's best for them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Their job is to do what's best for them. The owners, they get to skate and not have any responsibility in any of this shit. And that's kind of like my issue with it.
I think it's 50-50. It's the player's job to do what's best for them, and it's the owner's job to do what's best for them as well. Because they got a business to run, and we forget that because we not sitting in them seats. If we
But
were sitting in them seats, it'd be a whole different conversation and statements being made. Because
but
they
but
got to
the but
protect their dollar just like we want the players to protect whatever integrity or whatever the case it is that they trying to protect.
absolutely. But these owners typically bring a business mindset to a sports environment, and business and sports
Because
more
sports
often
is
than not don't. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of collision in all of that. And businessmen run their businesses like businesses. You know what I'm saying? These sports entities are completely different things.
But hold on,
Man,
hold on.
I think business is sport. The Lakers became the Lakers the way that they did with Magic Johnson and Showtime and them because Bus seen it as a
Because
business.
no,
Everything he created.
because but he also understood the basketball part of it. Like it's he understood.
Basketball for having bitches in a club? What that got to do with anything?
No,
That's
no, 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 no,
business.
no, 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 no.
That's
That's not what I'm talking.
business.
No, that's not what I'm saying, and that's not
What
what I'm
I'm
talking
talking
about.
about, I'm talking about his foresight of how he seen it all, the whole business, how to make it an entertainment thing. That's business.
But he was also a smart basketball mind. Like, don't lose that part of it. Yeah, he understood that LA was LA and he needed to sell it a
I
certain
think
kind
he
of
had
way.
smart basketball minds around him, and he later on soaked up some of that and began to be able to do things for himself. But he had some great basketball minds around him though in the beginning.
Most
One,
owners do, but we don't.
hold on. It's real
Go ahead,
hard
Mike.
for me to just let you make that point without saying, because I've said this many of times, is all these leagues are business first. When we look at it, who makes the moves to get the players on the field? It ain't the players and it ain't the coaches or that staff. It's these GMs.
Yeah.
Who's responsible? Or is the reason why each of these teams have a business office. Whose job is it to get the tickets there, get the asses in the seats? That's on the business side of it. So even though they're different, they're together, because without business, you don't have the sports, and it's unfortunate because sometimes the business aspect overseas, or they try to do too much. Like, for example, Jerry Jones is the business, and he tries to be the team. This is where your point kind of makes sense, right? Because he tries to do it all and he can't. The teams work better when it's separate. But unfortunately in sports, without business, you don't have the sport. That there's just no way around it.
Well, listen. I'm not saying that you don't need to or have to be, because if you had to be a businessman in order to be able to afford a NBA team or NFL team, but
Correct.
every owner does not buy a team with the intent of, I'm trying to win a championship. Some people just see it as a good investment. When I got people in town, my
Mhm.
business partners, I can bring them to a game and put them in a suite and this, that, and the other. And then
We
there are the
talking.
Mark Cubans or the Dr. Jerry Busses that were actually trying to contend for a championship every single season. Every owner ain't created equal. It's a lot of them. Baseball,
You're right.
basketball, football, hockey, soccer, whatever the fuck it is you want to name. It's a lot of them that are just cool with making their money at the end of the season. You own an NFL team, it's almost hard to be in the red. It's almost impossible to be in the red. You know what I mean? As an NFL owner. A lot of them are just cool with collecting that check. Every single owner is not out here trying to win a championship. And that's the point I'm making when I'm talking about leadership from the top down. Because whatever organization it is you're talking about, in whatever realm or area, or you know what I mean, however they do their business, it starts from the top down. When we talking about them Steelers, Mike, you know what I'm saying? The Rooney family. The reason that they have been able to be the Steelers for all of these years and all of these decades is because that leadership comes from the top down. And they do a great job of hiring not just front office executives, but coaches. And y'all done had 3 coaches in what, 50 years? It starts from the
Unheard of.
top down. So yeah, ownership matters. The Clippers is the ultimate example, right? Before Ballmer bought them. Um, all that bullshit that was going on before that, and now he didn't try to put all the money he can into them, and they still can't win because they don't always make the best decisions. Ownership matters, man, and every owner ain't doing it the same way and on the same level. That's all I'm saying, and that trickles down into your organization. It does. Next up, we got the Western Conference in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of started with me just kind of seeing what's been going on with Denver for a while now. I know Jokic had an injury and missed some games or whatever the case may be, but they are something like 10 and 12 over their last 22 games. And that just, when I was looking at that, it just kind of led me to kind of extrapolating a little bit and thinking about the Western Conference in general and what
Hmm.
my, you know what I mean, red flags might be for each of these teams. Because I feel like every, even though they got, you know what I mean, like some of the best records in the league, I feel like every team at the top of the Western Conference, they all got some red flags. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that led me to this idea of just kind of ranking the top 5 in the West. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like in a general sense, OKC, San Antonio, Minnesota, Denver, LA, it's kind of like, you know what I mean, who we feel like to be the possible contenders out west. You got Phoenix and, you know what I mean, some other teams just behind LA in the standings or whatever. But every team I'm looking at, I got a reason to have like red flags for them. You know what I mean? Which was what kind of led me to this thought process. So,
Houston's number 3.
oh, Houston,
Minnesota's
my bad.
4.
Houston, Houston is
Denver's 5.
Houston is who I left out. My bad. Houston is who I left out.
Mm-hmm.
So 6. We'll do these 6 teams: OKC, San Antonio, Minnesota, Denver, LA, Houston. Give me an idea for each team. You know what I mean? Why you think they could, and why you think, you know what I mean, what you think they downfall might end up being. We ain't even got to rank them. Just give me an idea of, you know what I mean, what, you know what I'm saying. Like I say, why you think they probably could get there, and what you think could be the Achilles heel for any one of these teams.
All right. I'll go first. I'll say OKC. I think is going to be the team that makes it out. Um, then there's that like cluster of like San Antonio, the Nuggets, San Antonio and the Nuggets. I think are the teams that you got to watch for that second spot for the Western Conference Finals. I don't believe in the Rockets. And the reason I
Mm,
don't believe in the Rockets is because I think there's issues in the locker room. I think that Kevin Durant, once again, with this burner account kind of destroys the chemistry that they had last season.
Mhm.
And I feel bad because there's a lot of growing that the Rockets need with their players, like Shingun, Jabari Smith Jr. They all need some type of like step up, but Kevin Durant, he's killing their growth. He's killing their growth, and I think that they're going to have to find a way to get back in that area of winning because they're losing games they're supposed to be winning, and I think it's a chemistry issue. Outside of that, I think those are the only teams that's really worthy of mentioning. Mentioning the rest of the teams, like the, the Los Angeles Lakers and the other teams, like even the Clippers, they're not really worth mentioning because they're not going to make it to that spot of what I'm saying, contention of being in that Western Conference Finals. Now, there's might be a surprise team out there, but I don't see any other teams outside of those three teams I mentioned at the top: OKC, Nuggets, and San Antonio. San Antonio is my sleeper for getting to the finals because they displayed they could beat any team at any time, and they beat OKC, I believe, 3 times this season.
And I believe that's going to be San Antonio's Achilles heel potentially.
Mm.
Do you remember? And well, you're going to remember because you're a Nets fan. Do you remember when the Nets made all those moves? They got Paul Pierce, Garnett, and they went 4-0 against the Heat that year. And then they played the Heat in the playoffs, and it didn't go the same way they wanted the Heat because they believed they could beat them.
Yeah.
That's potentially what could happen. When you beat a team on 3 separate occasions, even if they're close together, it's a little different than when you play them each week or every day for whether from 4 to 7 games because you can hone in on them, right? And you've watched them through the year and seen the progression because let me tell you, Wembanyama is looking like a man on a tear right now. I mean, the dude is just like eating people like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and not leaving a crumb behind. But I do believe that that series would go 7 games. But I do believe that OKC could figure them out. Not saying San Antonio can't win, but those are the top 2. Those are the top 2 I'm looking at for the Western Conference Finals. When it comes to Houston, they're showing us what they got to me. And Durant doing what Durant does, Duranting, being a distraction. Still, he's just, I don't see him personally winning another one unless he continues to play and just kind of slides on somewhere later. I'm looking at Minnesota. I'm not going to lie. I don't really have not seen enough to really make a full take on them. They have a respectable record, but I just don't see it personally.
Leave it up to me.
No.
Oops, say that again.
Leave it up to me then. I said leave it up to me when I come in.
As for Denver, unfortunately, their whole team rides on Nikola Jokic. There's no other player on the team or in the league, obviously, like him. And if he's injured or he's missing games,
stop disrespecting Jamal Murray,
He just sprained his ankle the other night, right? He hurt.
No, but here's the thing, bro. If Jokic goes down, right, and he misses a few games, Murray can't withstand that, is what I'm saying. Like, Jokic is an intricate part. I'm not trying to disrespect Murray at all, I'm just saying
we just seen him do it.
But when I'm looking, you're talking about a regular season game. I'm looking at this. He asked about playoffs.
The playoffs, right?
Playoff. Yeah, I'm looking at playoffs. If Jokic goes down and misses 3 games, can Murray go out there and do that 3, 4, 5 games?
If Joker go out, they're first round out, just like they were with Joker when Jamal Murray went out.
But the two aren't the same. The two aren't the same.
They may not be the same, but I think the impact is just as critical from either one because
Well,
they're a big two, not a big one.
that's arguable. That's
It's
very
kind of hard to
arguable.
win a
Jamal
championship
Murray's an
without your second.
all-star. He's averaging 27 points, bro.
It's kind of hard to win a championship without your second best player for anybody.
Right, but some ones is
My
he
point
averaging
exactly.
almost averaging and I'm sure Raj is eating this up. Is he averaging almost
I'm
a
not
triple
saying
double?
anything. I'm not saying anything. I'm letting you do the work.
I just look at it as
Was he not averaging damn near a triple double or a triple double when he won MVP and got popped in the first round without Jamal Murray?
Yes, but
2 years in a row.
There was also other factors.
But when they won the championship was when they finally had a healthy
Jamal
Murray.
Jamal Murray kept getting hurt in the playoffs or right before the playoffs. Yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to take nothing from Joker. I'm just stating what happened.
Yeah.
So in a 4-5 matchup now, you're telling me that Minnesota would have a better chance to beat Denver with Murray
seen him do it last year.
and not Jokic? So Murray could take Minnesota in the 7-game series without Jokic, is what you're telling me.
No.
No.
I thought you were saying it in reverse. Oh,
okay, no, that's what I'm getting at. That's all I'm just saying. I'm not saying that.
It clearly did. I see them as a first round out, just like they were when Joker was by himself. They're first round out.
I'm not saying either way. It's just if Jokic is going to miss games, if they both miss games, because we know Murray's got a little injury history himself. Denver's only going to go as far as one of them guys, or both of them can take.
All I'm saying is I think it's fair to say if either one of them go down, Denver fucked.
Yeah.
We can agree to disagree on that.
That's
wait. So Mike.
You think Joker could take Minnesota out in the 7-game series by himself when he couldn't do it with Jamal Murray last year?
I think
he has a better chance of doing it by himself than Murray does.
I agree with that.
Facts.
I agree with
that. That's what I'm getting
at. I agree with that. Yeah.
But wait, let me say this. I don't see Minnesota as a team that's real. Because they have a lot of issues. Well, I'm gonna tell you this. They're the house of disappointment. Every time you have money on them, or every time you want them to win, they lose. And every time you want them to lose, they win. They're the team that everyone looks at as a wild card team because everything is centered around Anthony Edwards and how he performs. Now, as good as he is on the offense, I don't think he's good on defense.
He's one of the best two-way players in the league.
I think there's a lot of questions.
Your NBA one-liners.
I disagree.
Your NBA one-liners are classic, bro. Your NBA one-liners,
please.
What did I say now?
Hold on. I just want to make one more point because I do want to talk about the Lakers real quick before you take your turn because I didn't get to do them. The Lakers are 38-25. Phoenix is right behind them by 2 games at 36-27. And
I have to make the playoffs.
And I don't know what LeBron fell, don't know which arm he hurt. And then
that just old.
Wait till you hit your 40s, bro.
I'm 40 plus. But I'm saying he's
I was talking to Mike. I was talking to Mike.
Okay.
Man,
Mike ain't gotta wait till he hit his 40s because there's a difference between him and LeBron James. LeBron James is a fucking cyborg, primarily trained athlete. So his fall and hurt at 40 is still not as bad as his fall and hurt in his late 30s because he's not in that type of shape.
Word. But yeah, so I think Phoenix is right there, and it's just they might be a play-in team if they can't figure it out because they got so many problems. I don't foresee them doing anything really. But OKC and San Antonio are the two I'm looking at. Go ahead, R&B.
So I got to push back on that. You said Phoenix has so many problems.
The Lakers.
Bro. Oh, the
No, he was
Lakers,
talking.
Lakers,
Yeah, he was
The
Lakers.
talking about
Oh,
Lakers.
okay,
Lakers.
okay, okay.
No, no. I said the
'Cause
Lakers have
I was gonna
problems.
say,
Phoenix is on their coattails.
so
Yeah.
this is an important year in the NBA and the Western Conference, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe that the championship is going to come out of the West this year. That I think I firmly believe that this year's champion will come from the West. Of course, being a Pistons fan, I hope for something completely different.
I'm over here cussing you out of my mind, right? We'll
But
talk
I,
about this later.
yeah, but I have to be I have to be, I have to be objective to this shit. You know what I'm saying? Um, the reason why I say that this is an important year for West is because this is a year of installing dominance, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to come from one of these three teams. I'm sorry, I don't have the Nuggets in that equation any longer with the injury history. I mean, not history, but the injuries that they've had, their recent up and down play. That's not a good sign for them going into the playoffs. They have been on a little bit of a drop. Maybe they'll turn it around. We'll see. But how I see it right now is I believe the three teams out of the West that will challenge for this dominance is going to be either OKC is going to get back to the finals and they're going to win another championship and it's going to start a beginning of what might be the next great dynasty to come out of the West, led by Shea and the crew, or we're going to see Wimby get to the finals, possibly win that championship this year, and begin a run of what we all believe to be the next great player, saying that like the next great alien, period, like the player, the freak of nature, to just be able to come on the court, man amongst boys, and dominate. Surrounded by this deep Spurs team that he has rolling with him. I think it's a chance that he will begin his reign this year. Or number three, the team that me and Mike were just kind of debating about, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards has been quietly knocking on the door in these past few years or so, and we kind of just skate by it because he doesn't really have a true uh what I would say great player next to him. I like
I see
Julius
how it
Randle,
too.
but I wouldn't put Julius Randle as great. He's damn good, but he's not great. You know what I'm saying? We kind of don't pay attention to them. You know what I'm saying? Because they built a different way. They're not as exciting. If you really want to know the truth, the Minnesota Timberwolves kind of mimic one of those old school type title contenders where you got your superstar, you know what I'm saying, and Anthony Edwards, that he gonna be your top tier superstar, and then you might have that next level under him and a player like Julius Randle, and then you got a what they call a defensive stopper and a Rudy Gobert center, and then all of the rest of the pieces around it to try to fit in and make it work. That's what the Minnesota Timberwolves kind of look like. But what I'm getting at is that I think between these three players, because these are the main three players that everybody talk about, and just now until Cade, which I feel like he still got a little more to prove. Cade entered himself into the conversation somewhat this year. These are the main three players that we all talk about, NBA fans, when we talk about the next face of the league: Shea, Wimby, and Anthony Edwards. And this is the year that I believe that one of those three will break through. And either when it comes to Wimby and Anthony Edwards, begin some type of reign of dominance and winning, or OKC, Shea and company being the next great dynasty out of the Western Conference. And that's where I'm at on.
Okay.
All right. I got three tiers. Okay. In my third tier, I got the Lakers and I got Denver. Um, with the Lakers again, like, and it's crazy to be saying it when they like, fifth in the conference, and like it's when we talking about in terms of context matters, so we talk about in terms of like championship contenders, but they still ain't LeBron, Luca, and Austin Reeves still ain't really had a chance to be on the court together like that. So again, I wouldn't bet money on it per se. Maybe if I got, like a good line, you know what I'm saying? I throw a couple dollars on it, but I wouldn't go into the playoffs expecting them to win a championship. But if they ended up, if they got right and ended up beating every team in front of them, I wouldn't be surprised. Like it wouldn't be like the craziest shit that ever happened. You know what I'm saying? Um,
I
and down
agree.
there with them, I got Denver in part because Joker is still putting up numbers, but since he had that back injury, again they've been sub 500. They've been when I looked it up the other day, it was like 10-12 in their last 22 games. And
Mm-hmm.
then I just saw again Jamal Murray ankle injury the other night. You know what I mean? So again, if they ended up going all the way and winning the championship, wouldn't be the craziest shit in the world. But just based off of what I'm seeing from them right now, I kind of got them in this third tier down here. Um, my second tier, it's like 50-50 propositions for these teams for different reasons with each team. Um, Houston, I still feel like they need a point guard. Like I feel like at some point in the playoffs, you're gonna need somebody that can run your offense and get you the best possible shot. You know what I'm saying, that you can get. Isolation don't work all the time, you know. And that's my concern with them. I feel like they're more than talented enough. I'm just concerned that they're gonna find themselves in some late game situations where having like really missing Fred Van Fleet. You know what I mean? A guy that's just gonna kind of make the right play. You know what I mean? Out there on the court, and can make the shot for you or get the shot. You know, get somebody else the shot. Um,
Say,
Minnesota,
hold on. Say that name again. Say that name again for Mike Will.
Fred Van Fleet.
Yeah. You hear that, Mike?
Hey,
What about him?
he got it. Hey, he was a high level
Mike is
player on a
very
championship team
disrespectful
already.
to Fred
You know
Van
what I'm
Vliet.
saying?
Very disrespectful.
Hey, look,
Disrespect.
I feel like
Yeah, that
Fred
was
Van Fleet
disrespectful.
is high on that list of all time great role players. Not necessarily an all star. You know what I'm saying? But gonna excel in the role that the team need him to at a very very high level. That's how I look at him. Um, and then with Minnesota, I definitely believe in Ant. It's just and kind of coming back to what you know. What I mean, Ryan, what R&B was talking about, Julius Randle and what's the big boy name? French dude.
Gobert.
Rudy
Oh, Gobert.
Gobert.
Look, we depending on.
Rudy Gobert.
I feel like with them, it's very much about the matchups because we've seen Rudy Gobert get played off the court plenty of times. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
Then we
again,
see what he did to the Lakers last year.
you get to the Lakers last year and they didn't have nothing for him, and he was out there. They had him out there looking like fucking Shaq. You know what I'm saying? um, again, with them, I feel like it's more situational. You know, a lot of times, it's the old saying that styles make fights. You know what I mean? It's certain teams that might be in a vacuum better than another team, but this other team just got their number because of the style that they play in. That's my thing with Minnesota. And then San Antonio, man, I'm trying to get 7 on a come out, hoping that Wemby gonna stay healthy. That's my issue and my concern with them. All of
Mm-hmm.
his injury issues. Because if he go down at any moment, you know what I mean, they still solid, you know what I mean, without Wemby. You know what I mean? Darren Fox, Castle, Vassell, all the, they got talent around him.
Deep as
But
shit.
he's the center of that solar system. Like, you know what I mean? He the sun in that solar system. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my biggest concern when it comes to San Antonio is his health issues. He could go down at any moment. And then in a tier all of their own, I got OKC. Not that I'm saying because again, we were just talking about styles make fights. San Antonio been whooping OKC ass. You know what I'm saying? But if Wemby get hurt, you know what I mean? Or if they don't even have to go through OKC, you know what I mean? Again, depending on the matchups. I know they done had a lot of injuries this year, but it also just kind of showed and proved that Sam Presti is probably the best general manager in all of the league because all up and down their roster, they always got somebody that can step in. You know what I'm saying? And kind of play above what people typically think they are because they're such a deep team. You know what I mean? People don't really get to show out like that. I do got some injury, obviously, injury concerns with them. Chet is frail. So we never know what's gonna happen with him. You know what I mean? He be having some injury issues or whatnot. Jalen been, you know what I mean, having dealing with stuff all season basically. So, they got some red flags too. But I still feel like
And the
that
TikTok.
roster is so loaded. What'd you say?
I say, don't forget about the TikToks. Red flag. Okay, see.
They got a whole bunch of TikTokers over there.
I'm just sticking to own the court.
TikTokers.
I'm just sticking to own the court. You know what I'm saying?
They doing it in the facility. They doing it in the facility.
But yeah, I kind of got them in the tier, you know what I mean, of they own, you know what I mean, right now. Because I feel like they really do got. I feel like obviously Shea is the only irreplaceable player on that team, quote unquote. But outside of him, you know what I mean, Chet really is like an injury concern. And I feel like he do so much for that team. A lot of shit that don't even show up, you know what I mean, necessarily in the stat sheet. But concerns about him and his that would be like my biggest red flag for them.
Yeah.
All right.
You really could have just shortened all that up by just saying I agree with my little brother, but
I told you that about my little brother just pissed me off saying the Pistons ain't a real contender, basically. We gotta talk later. We gotta talk later. Hey, look, we got company. We can't be letting everybody know all the family business. All right. Next up, Russell Westbrook in this post-game conversation that he had with the media. And I was trying to text it, but you know what I mean? I didn't really do a good job of like kind of expressing everything. I hope everybody got a chance to kind of watch it. What I ended up doing was going and finding an article that kind of like, you know what I mean, laid out exactly what was being heard. Because that's one of my least favorite things about when we watch a situation with an athlete in the media and a press conference. You can't always hear the question that was asked or what the media is saying to them to kind of get the response that you're getting. So I went and found some, and I read all through it. So Russ, it started with this one particular media member, and Russ already had smoke with them. Because again, this is the one that he was asking, like, do you know me? He said, yeah, I know you. I said, no, you don't. He said, you don't know me. Do you know me personally? Like, have you ever had a private, personal conversation with me? And he was like, no, I just know you professionally. And Russ is like, all right, cool. But you insinuating all these things about me that's not necessarily basketball or on the court stuff. You just assuming things. And then somebody else said, another reporter said something to the effect of like, well, this is like the worst season in the last how many ever years for the Kings. So we do feel like, we can ask questions about this. He like, yeah, it ain't no problem with you asking questions, but like the thing, basically, I'm gonna shorten it up. Russ was saying like, it's one thing to write about what you see on the court. You know what I mean? Good play, bad play in between. But y'all give all these y'all write all these nuanced reports when you haven't actually talked to me about any of this to get the nuance that you're kind of presenting. Mm-hmm. So my question to y'all is like, what do y'all think about the relationship between professional athletes and the traditional media right now? You know what I mean? And the reason I'm kind of being specific about this, I remember when Twitter first was becoming a thing and people such as Stephen A. Smith was like, no, don't get on Twitter and say nothing. If you need somebody to speak for you, you need to come to the media because you might fuck it up and say the wrong thing. And I can't tell you how many athletes I heard say, no, I was misquoted. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they be on some bullshit. Sometimes they be telling the truth. And now they have all these different areas, you know what I mean, and opportunities and arenas to express themselves in. And to me, it kind of felt like the traditional media just be like on some, well, I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job. And it's like, no, it's more to it than that. You know what I mean? So, Mike, you want to jump in first? Like, tell me, like, some of your thoughts on kind of this relationship from your younger days when you first started watching sports to kind of what we're seeing now and what you think about it.
Well, media has always been the job of the media is to give a story, right?
Mhm.
Like it doesn't matter if it's the right story. It honestly doesn't even matter if it's the truth. And that's not just sports, that's media in general. The idea
Mhm.
is to go out there and get a story. Now, with that being said, some players would much rather say what they say and have it come from them, right? Versus, oh, you read a source or you get a source saying he said this or he said that, which is where I think when Russ came in and was like, do you know me? You know me
Right.
personally? And he was like, no. He's like, are you in the film session with us? You in practice with us? You doing this with us? Doing that with us? And he's like,
Right.
no. And then he's like, well, what's this guy got to say? Oh, because you were in practice with us, right? Um, just based off of that, it sounded like, they were making, I don't want to say allegations, they were making, their thoughts known on the Kings season so far and what it meant for them to this point, and he didn't like it. Now, to answer the actual question, um, the relationship between traditional media like that, not podcasts and things like that,
Mhm.
um, I think it's a little more soured personally than before. But once again, it depends on the player. You have players go up there and they're harped on. For example, Josh Allen. He goes up there every year, like they showed a video of him every year after the Bills lose, right? And
Mhm.
he's like, they're just like harping on him about losing, right? Like this year, he was crying, like
Mhm.
full blown tears. Uh, but then you have, Russell Westbrook, who's like, no, we're not going to do this, kind of controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
I think it's just really depends on the player, but it's kind of like, is he wrong to feel that way? No.
No.
Does he have a right to speak his mind? Yes. But the players also have to understand to some degree they do have a job to do. But the
Mhm.
media needs to understand that the players aren't in control of everything that happens. Russell Westbrook can't control everything that happens on the Sacramento Kings. He's balling this season. He's doing his part. He's showing up and
Mhm.
playing,
Right.
but other than that, there's just never, to me, my opinion, there's never going to be a happy medium between
Mhm.
uh, the players and the media, and if, even if the media, like, let's just say Russell Westbrook watches this and he don't like
Mhm.
it, and he wanted to talk to us. That may be bad to him, but that's great for us. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's great for us,
Right.
So it all like, so even if the media is bad, the business side of it ends up being good it makes good business on both parts. Because
Mhm.
guess what? We're talking about this. I seen them talking about it on First Take, talking about it
Mm-hmm.
Right.
here, talking about it there. So in
Right.
a way, everyone still wins.
Hey, I want to throw a quick question up for everybody, real quick. Do today's athletes need the traditional media in the way that they did in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s?
No.
Or do the traditional
Yes,
media need the
yes.
athletes more nowadays?
I think it's 50-50. I easily will answer that and say I think it's 50-50, and I say yes. Because just like just like it ain't always a bad athlete or it ain't always the athlete fault, it's not always bad media and it's
Right.
not always bad media fault. It's bad apples on both sides.
Yeah.
Uh, with that being said, I feel like more in the new media, which is more a lot of athletes and stuff, my personal feeling, I'm not saying that it's fact. Just from what I see, I feel like they're always gonna kind of lobby for each other more
Mm.
versus with traditional media, not really tied to a side. They if it's a real media person, like say
Mm.
if it's one of us telling the story, we gonna keep it 100 and we gonna be 100% unbiased about it and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Now I can't say that that's the we all know that that's not 100% of the media. I'm trying to
Right.
context it around like dudes who really go out there, work hard, get a real story, and report a real story, not
Mm,
just some fabricated bullshit. You know what I'm saying? The
mm,
ones who are the Della Creme at the top of the, you know what I'm saying, of like good media personalities or good media, period. Uh, I think you need them to keep that unbiased truth versus athletes doing media, unless what they would consider, I guess, like a Uncle Tom or some shit, or some of the ones that are hated or looked at as being sold out to the
mm.
media or to the man. They gonna be unbiased. I mean, they'll be biased about shit, and they'll, you know what I'm saying, kind of gatekeep or whatever the case may be. I'm probably not articulating it the best way, but y'all, I get y'all kind of understand what I'm
No, I
saying.
know.
But
I'm with. Quick question for you. Do you not feel like, especially in, you said something earlier where you was like, I don't want to take it there because y'all know how I feel about it. I do feel like we need to have these conversations because they do matter in sports. Every single conversation don't come down to that kind of stuff, but it is a big part of it. So what I'm about to ask you is, and we didn't live in these times, but I feel like the media, the traditional, it was only the traditional media at the time, but when you talk about the 50s, 60s, 70s, I feel like, especially when you talk about the NBA, when they say it was a cocaine league and this, that, and the other, we did need a white media to kind of present to people that, you know what I'm saying, it ain't all what you think it is, and to shine a light on people who are doing real positive things, not just on the basketball court, showing who they were as a person. And I feel like we're evolving into a space where now they have the space to say whatever they want to say. They got their own platform. And if they say some bullshit on their platform, they can't put it on nobody else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm asking you is, like, do you feel like there was a time where they did kind of need, you know what I mean, the predominantly white media to speak positively on these black athletes, and now these black athletes are just kind of taking their own, you know what I mean, space and place and saying, no, I don't need you, whether it's, traditional or otherwise, I can speak for myself.
no, I don't think it was a time where they needed the predominantly white, good, so-called good media or whatever to highlight the game in a good way. I think it was a time where they just chose to have it that way. It was plenty of great, you know what I'm saying, like Stephen A. Smith and some of them would attest to plenty of great media personalities from back in those times who wrote good reports, black ones and stuff, and did good reports, but they didn't get the notoriety. Then nobody cared about them. Nobody wanted to read their stories. Nobody wanted to post their stories or print their stories and stuff like that. So it was, I think it was, they were chose because it's a system that they put in place. They always want to put themselves as the godly figure
Mhm.
heroes and
Yeah.
characters.
I feel like we say the same thing, just in different words.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The black media wasn't allowed, so you. I feel like we saying the same thing, just
Yeah.
in different words. Go ahead, Raj. What you thinking?
Well, I want to say real quick, we live in a world where there's too much media, and I'm gonna just say that because when we were coming up in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s watching sports, there was only a selective amount of media heads that we heard from. Now, with that being said, that also kind of twisted the narrative on how contracts were given out too. You know what I'm saying? So you had people like Stephen A. Smith who pretty much killed Kwame Brown's career because of what he said on ESPN a few times.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of narrative push, out there, and that's the reason why I don't really rock
That's
with
a bad example though, bro. That's a bad
how,
example. I'm sorry.
how.
Kwame Brown was trash, bro. Let's keep it a buck.
No,
Kwame
he
Brown
was
was trash.
okay,
I don't
but
I don't disagree with what you're saying, Ryan. But when
real,
Stephen A. Smith is calling him trash on ESPN every single day, that does affect his ability to negotiate a contract.
and that's my whole point. Regardless of how you
You
feel
do.
person,
I don't disagree. But
regardless of
was he
how
wrong?
no,
Well,
no, he
was
wasn't.
he the only one calling him trash?
No, no,
Well,
no,
that's
but he,
that's
he
that's
he was
where
the
the
biggest
narrative.
and loudest voice. So
Yes,
when he get out here and be saying we number one, we got the
yeah,
number one rated show on da 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 da. Yeah. So just in the
yeah,
same way that he challenges athletes to understand how important
yeah.
their voice is, he don't get to act like it's lost on him how what he says affected this man. Like you can't have that both ways.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
But if he would have played better, then his voice is not as powerful.
If he would have played better, he wouldn't have been saying that. But
Well,
go ahead, Raj. Go ahead, Raj.
it's a double-edged sword. I'm using that as an example because, and I use that on purpose because even though we can say, oh, he's trash, he did that in his first few years of developing. This kid was coming out of high school.
High
You see
school,
what I'm
right?
saying? So to ask him to be a number one pick, like let's say, I don't know, someone like what's his name? That was number one. That went straight.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard, yes. Dwight Howard straight out of high school and expecting to put up these legendary numbers. That's not expected for everybody. Everyone has their different trajectory on where their career is going to go. But as a media figure, you're supposed to be non-biased and you're supposed to have some type of leeway where you give your take without trying to destroy the actual person as a player. See, he was taking it personal. He personally went out. He said he's god awful. He said he's the worst player that he ever witnessed play or even in the NBA. And that right there went to negotiations of his contract. That went into how he was projected in the media overall. ESPN's up here, and the rest of the other media outlets like Fox Sports and all these newspapers are under them. But when it's all said and done, I point that out because we are dealing with too much media, where you have people that are going out of their way to clip farm, to put clips together, like that Russell Westbrook thing you just mentioned. There's people out here that would say, "Oh, well, that was kind of like he kind of baited him into that." Yes, because we are in that era where if you get a hot take or if you get someone to say something, an athlete to say something, now your name is in Twitter space. Now your name is in the media. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it boils down to. It's about what can.
I'm surprised. Go ahead, my bad.
Yeah, no, go. It's all good.
I'm just gonna say real quick, I'm surprised that I be the one to do this, but because I'm not per se a Stephen A. Smith guy, but in defense of Stephen A. Smith, I've been watching ESPN before Stephen A. Smith was on ESPN.
Right.
So I seen the come up of his career. I pretty much grew up with Stephen A. Smith's career.
Mm-hmm.
I have never watched ESPN and seen him criticize Kwame Brown as a person. And I agree with him when he said, with everything that I can remember growing up or clips that you can go find, I've never seen him say anything outside of Kwame Brown's performance on the basketball court. And that is their job. I don't think he said anything any different than what any one of us would have said sitting in that
Who said
same
he attacked? Who said he attacked his character though?
That's what Raj just said a second ago. You talk about him as a person, and it affects his
I mean,
negotiations. It was nothing outside of what he did on the court.
Well, let me.
when you bring his name up, yeah, you're talking about him as a person to a certain degree. Go ahead, Rod.
Exactly. It goes one and the same because you're attacking the
man.
brand.
Y'all moving the goalposts,
bro. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
So what he supposed to go on there and say? Go back to the old NBA games when Jordan didn't want to be on there and shit. So guard 98 is or center 34 or whatever the fuck his number was.
No.
Play a lick of basketball.
Hold on, let me get my take, and I'll give you a context of what I'm trying to say.
When Raj done, I need to jump in.
Yeah, because this is what I'm saying. He's an 18-year-old young man. Okay. Let me rewind it a little bit more. He's an 18-year-old black man, young black man that's coming into the NBA. He got drafted number 1, right? So we talked about it earlier. You can't pick the team that you're drafted to. The team drafts you, right? He's still developing. He gave him no leadway. His first season in the NBA, he talked bad about him. He said he's god awful. He's the worst NBA player that he ever witnessed play, right? That's attacking his character because he's saying that he's not going to allow him to have that kind of leadway to even become good. So when we talk about
was his personal opinion, though. That's his personal opinion,
and that's fine. That's fine. Now let's juxtapose it, right? There's other players out there that was number 1 that he never said that for, and they played even worse. And what I'm
I seen
saying
him
is,
say some of the same shit about Anthony Bennett.
okay, and that's what I'm saying. He does this. What the whole purpose of me bringing that up is that we got media heads that damn near destroy the player before they even get started, before they even get an opportunity to even go into a second training camp. So if we're saying that he's not destroying his character, then what the hell is that? When he sits down at these tables and sit down with these executives, and they said, "Well, technically, we're not supposed to pay you this because you didn't play that well," and knowing goddamn well he didn't even have a full 2 seasons to even prove himself. That's not fair because you'll get someone like, let's say, I don't know, let's use Cooper Flag for an example, real quick, right? His first few games, he didn't play well, but did you hear Stephen A. Smith say anything bad about him?
So we saying the first few games Kwame Brown played, Stephen A. Smith was just annihilating them. Go find me the
Absolutely.
clips. I'll
No,
give
no,
you
no.
clips
I'm
because I
not
don't
saying that.
remember it
I'm
being
not
like
saying
that.
that. I'm not
I
saying
don't
that.
remember that.
I'm not
Okay.
saying that.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Will. What was you going to say?
Um, my issue with Stephen A. Play fucking chess and not checkers. Okay, let's be clear about that. So we all understand that it's not
I
always
agree.
what you say; it's how you say it, right? It's not always what you say; it's how you say it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Delivery is important.
So I will give you a non Kwame Brown example. When Stephen A. be like, I don't understand why he feel the way he feel. All I said was, but so Stephen A. and LeBron, Stephen A. will be. We know he's one of the greatest to ever do it out of Akron, Ohio. St. Mary Vincent DePaul High School, one rookie of the year. You know what I mean? Four-time NBA champion, four-time Finals MVP, 21-time NBA All-Star. But it is blasphemous. It is asinine to even try to say that he is in the realm of the great Michael Jordan. And then he be like, all I said was he was number two. And it's like, no, that's not all you said, my nigga. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, you had one kind of energy in the beginning, and you didn't keep that same energy to say, and all I ever said about LeBron was that I think he's the second greatest player of all time. You know what I mean? I just feel like Jordan is a better player. Like, no, he be acting like you
I ain't
motherfucking
gonna
out
let
your
y'all do that.
goddamn
I ain't gonna
mind.
let y'all do that.
You know
I
what I'm
ain't gonna let
saying?
y'all do that. We
No,
all know that Stephen A. Which is why I agree with what you said. But we all know Stephen A. Smith, outside of just being a media presence, what else is he? ESPN
no.
don't
So
just
let me
pay him
finish.
to be a media member. He's a
Let me finish because I
character.
know what you about to say. It's entertainment at the end of the day. It's entertainment
That's
at the
what
end of the
makes him
day.
his money. That's what makes him his money.
So again, he can't take the stance of it's entertainment at the end of the day, and then act like you know what I mean. Motherfuckers is crazy when he be speaking on them a certain kind of way. Another one of them things he said all the time. They know where I am. They know where to find me. They got my
Yep.
number. I'm at the games. And then when LeBron walked up on his ass at a game, it was a fucking problem. So like, no, like you can't have it every kind of way you want to have it. I'm just saying what the OGs told me. The legends and the greats that I talk to, this is what they tell me. But then you go on TV and say the shit. You know what I mean? Like it's never a him thing. It's always a everybody else thing. And in a general sense, with the sports media in particular, it's always, well, I'm just doing my job. Like,
Right.
oh, so you never being an asshole? You
They
never
hide that.
clickbaiting? You never trying to create a narrative? Because again, what you just say, Ryan, it's entertainment. So even when it was just the traditional media before the explosion of the internet, they were trying to get motherfucking headlines. It was never strictly straight up and down reporting what I see. It's never been that. It's never been that. And that don't absolve athletes from the bullshit that they do and say. But the media perpetuates the narrative that all we do is our job. All we doing is our job. That's all we do. And it's like, nah, that ain't true. A lot of y'all be on some bullshit too. Trying to get your name, you know what I mean, out here.
And
And you
I
know what I
think
mean,
we all
advance
agree
your
that
career.
the media's job is to be on bullshit a lot of the times. They're gonna come and try to ask them tough questions that they feel like will get you riled up. That's
And
going now
so
in
don't tell me
today's
you ain't.
world
But
get
don't
you
tell me you ain't on
likes
bullshit.
and views.
Listen. The media, the media will tell you I'm working for you as the fan. I'm trying to get the answers for you as the fan. And it's like, no, nigga, you're not working for me. You working for you and your career.
You working
You
for you
trying to
and your
blow your
money.
shit up. The same way they
Hey,
say all these athletes.
but what we just say about the NIL shit earlier, we ain't mad at nobody trying to get their bag. Let them get their bag. That's what
I ain't
they
mad
do.
at.
Get
Look,
their bag.
I ain't mad at. But when you are misrepresenting shit again, if you go
The
on
media's job is to
if you
misrepresent,
go on a
bro.
podcast and say, you know
Let
what?
people know.
No, listen, if you go on a podcast and say, you know what my job is? My job is to get these clicks and get these views. And I can respect that. Don't tell me when you wrong about a prospect what the you know what I mean,
So
the
hold
scouts
on.
that
So
you
what
talk
you
to, don't
saying
tell
is
me
that
about
like
what they
nigga just
told you.
hold on. You saying basically nigga just keep it real and tell me what you want.
Keep it a buck.
Versus beating around the bush with me, keep it a buck. I can
Keep it
respect that.
keep it a buck because
I
when
can respect
athletes
that.
because when they get athletes that do the PR thing and only speaking that PR language, oh, they boring. They don't talk to us. And when they're 100% real with you, oh, this motherfucker wilding. He crazy. Again, the media holds all these people to a certain standard that they don't hold themselves to. And that's my issue with it.
I,
That's my
I
issue with
want
it.
Mike to get in on this because I seen him hold his hands up in prayer and all types of shit. He itching. I gotta hear what he got to say about this because this is a Stephen A. guy.
And like I've said, Stephen A. over the years, he's become a lot more political. And, I think he tries to dance around holding himself accountable. Like the LeBron thing, for example.
That's all I
Like
said.
Will said, all I said was, no. You went into this deep dialect of how he wasn't, and you broke down everything. And then when he approached you, it was an issue. I don't.
I can't have his real quick. I can't have his back on the LeBron shit. But what I will say about the whole LeBron thing, LeBron tries to find a problem with anybody in the media or beyond that says that Michael Jordan is number one and he's number two.
Wait. But part of Michael's legacy is that anytime he felt like somebody slighted him, he had a problem with it, though, right? And that's part of
But
his
he handled
legacy.
it on the court. He handled it on the court.
And
And
LeBron hasn't.
we all know.
LeBron hasn't.
Well, I think
Not recently.
I think when you're
Not recently.
I think you're
Like
comparing
41
the
years old.
Not since he's entered himself into the conversation. Because for a while he wasn't.
Oh wait. So
I'm
then
sorry,
tell
Mike. Go
me a
ahead, man.
time, just based on that, tell me a time a reporter said something about Michael and you seen them on the court arguing for the camera to see. If you could recollect one.
After the Elo shot, because part of what had him so fired up was that none of the Chicago media picked the Bulls to win that series. So after he hit the shot and he did the fist pump, they don't show you the part where he go and talk shit to all the Chicago media. Like, yeah. There, look, if you look for him, it's plenty of examples of this shit. It's just that when Jordan played, we didn't have the internet like this, and we didn't have social media. But again, it's part of his legacy that anybody that's had anything to say about him, he felt some kind of way about that shit. And it's not that he got to exact his revenge on everybody on the court. That's not the way it happened. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he talked his shit. But yeah, like, it's just funny how it's different for LeBron than it is Jordan.
Right, but like, what did you just say? You answered your own question to it being funny. We didn't have the social media, right? That outlet wasn't there. So when there's an issue, what does everyone on the planet do, right? Like for example, my biggest problem with Facebook. People will post something personal, right? And then when someone comments something they don't like, they want to get mad. Like, dumbass, you posted it on Facebook. It's the same thing. If a player is upset, they go on social media and then they want to turn around and get upset when someone challenges them. And that's not how it works. If you don't want to be challenged or if you don't like what could potentially be said, don't go on social media. Don't tell no one. Keep that shit to you. That's the only way it's not going to get out.
So you're obligated to just allow people on social media to say whatever the fuck it is they want to you and not have any response. That's how that works?
No, that's not how it works. You're changing my words. That's not what I said. I said if you have a problem and you go on social media and then someone challenges it, you cannot be mad, is what I said. Now,
wait. Okay, wait. So wait. I need to ask this question. So it was cool when Jordan felt like a writer had some shit to say about them, and oftentimes a nationally syndicated paper, because he was playing in Chicago, so the Chicago Tribune was sold across the country. And again, so no, he didn't have social media to clap immediately back at an individual person. But when he had these writers that were saying, because again, this is another part of Jordan's story that people forget. For most of the 80s, pretty much all of the 80s, because he didn't win a championship until 91. They started saying that he was a gunner that was never going to win shit because all he do is shoot. You know what I'm saying? It's been all of these things that were said about him in the media. No, there was no social media at the time, but he absolutely 1,000,000% responded to what was getting back to him about him. No, he wasn't responding on Twitter or Snapchat or Instagram because he didn't have it. But he, in his time, with what he had, he absolutely 1,000,000% did that shit.
Right, but that's the narrative's different because you didn't let me finish. I was gonna say now if someone says something about you and you want to respond, that's different. That's different because you're not going on there and saying it. That's the point I'm making. If someone could tell me I'm black and ugly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone could just tell me I'm black and ugly. All right. And now I have the right to go and respond to that. Because someone's insulting me, right? So I have that right, and any player or person's well within their right. But now let's just say, for example, now let's say I go out here and I say I'll use Cody Rhodes for example. Cody Rhodes won the championship, and I don't like it. I don't like it, right? I got a video I'm ready to post, but
He just beat what you call it on SmackDown, right? Drew McIntyre. Yeah,
now,
okay.
I want to go post this video, right? But I know it's going to receive backlash, and I don't feel like arguing with Marks. The video is on TikTok, but it's not on Facebook or Instagram because I know that I'm going to have to deal with these.
I know what a mark is.
Yeah, I know I'm going to have to deal with these marks, or as I call them. All right, no, not you. Not you saying you know, but
no, he just saying we know the language, bro. That's all he said.
I'm just saying
we from the dirt sheet days, you know.
I don't call them marks, the Cody fans. I call them the Cody cocksuckers. So I'm not ready to deal with them. And what's funny is the biggest Cody cocksucker is a guy I met in a sports group. Ironically, his name's Michael Williams. You couldn't make that up. And it is an argument him and I will have till the end of time. But back to the reason I say that is I know if I post that, it's going to bring that attention. And I'm not ready to respond to that. Therefore, I haven't posted it on those groups. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If someone says something about you, defend yourself. But if you go and post something or say something in an interview and then someone challenges it, you don't have the right to get mad because you put it out there. That's all I'm saying.
I know. I agree with that 1,000,000%. If you say something in public, on a public forum, any kind of public forum, whether it's television, internet, whatever, and people have their opinion about whatever it is, you know, freedom of speech ain't free. You know what I'm saying? So I 1,000,000% agree with that. But when it comes to athletes, it's not. More often than not, they're not posting. It's somebody posting and saying some shit about them. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. And look, if somebody say, man, you was a bum tonight, whatever the case may be, like, yeah, you know, sometimes you got to take that shit on the chin. But people, y'all know, like I do, the internet is the wild, wild west. You know what I mean? The motherfuckers say whatever it is they want to say to you. And I don't think just because you famous, don't mean that you got to sit there and let somebody say some wild, reckless shit to you. I don't think it's necessarily being
I
sensitive.
agree.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree. But I think it's a case of sensitivity. I don't think nobody is, at least to my knowledge, I don't think it's too many people that will sit up and say, "Oh yeah, you should openly just let somebody disrespect you because you're an athlete or whatever the case may be." I think where people look at the sensitivity of it is when, like I just said earlier, people can't have an opinion without somebody feeling some type of sensitivity about it. I'm virtually all of us here are virtually nobodies. Stephen A is a highly renowned face of ESPN, one of the faces of Disney because it's owned by Disney or
Right,
whatever. But if,
right.
if if we were to sit up here and all agree that LeBron is the second greatest of all time and he got wind of the video, I'm at a high level of surety that if he got wind of it and saw it, he would have a problem with it. And that's the simple
I
shit that,
disagree.
that people talk about, like
Disagree.
players being sensitive and like
Mm.
don't want nobody to have an opinion or nothing. Like you hear a lot of people, hold on, you hear a
Right.
lot of these athletes go on these platforms and say they don't respect shit like what we're doing right now. They
Mm.
don't want to hear what our opinion on anything because we didn't play the game. That's bullshit. Just because I didn't play does not mean that I
Yeah.
don't have eyes and I did not watch. Now I
The
may
media
not
do the
go
same shit
into
though. The media do the Stephen A. do the same shit. You can't talk to me and have a
and
conversation with
that's
me and
my
debate
point
me. I'm Stephen
exactly.
A. Smith.
That's my point exactly though. They'll give people like Stephen A pass just because he's Stephen A or because they work for ESPN.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's all really
Look,
bullshit. You know what I'm
look.
saying? Because people don't want people to have, they don't want the people that they don't want to have an opinion have an opinion.
Right. I don't know LeBron. I've never met LeBron. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because y'all might know some shit I don't know. The only people I've really heard talk shit about LeBron in the media is Stephen A. and Beetle. You know what I'm saying? Michelle Beetle. I know that neither one of them fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? And Beetle made it clear a long time ago that, you know what I'm saying, she don't fuck with him because she felt like he came for a job. And Stephen A. came out in the last year or two and said, I don't like him personally. He said that shit. He went on TV and said that shit. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't start that day. He didn't just stop liking that nigga that day or start having a personal issue with him that day. It was shit before
Oh,
that.
they did have personal
You know what I'm saying?
issues.
So,
We
but
talked
so,
about
so the point I'm trying to get to is Stephen A. ain't the first nigga that told LeBron that he think Jordan is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Shump. I was just watching Shump on Uncle Shay Shay the other day. And he told, Shump a Chicago kid. He said, yeah, I told LeBron, like, you know what I mean? Like you my guy, you my boy, but Jordan is the GOAT. I don't feel like his issue with Stephen A. And again, I don't want to speak on his behalf. I can't speak on his behalf. But Stephen A. be reckless the way he talk about people sometimes. You know what I mean? And
I
when he
don't
talk about
disagree.
people, and when you talk about people that kind of way, don't act like you don't understand that they got it. It's one thing to just speak your mind. You know what I'm saying? And say, look, Kwame Brown, he was the number one pick. You know what I mean? We expected more out of him. His career just ain't be what we thought it was going to be, being that he was the number one pick in the draft by the Washington Wizards. You know what I mean? In 2001. Kwame Brown. He fucking with that man name. You know what I'm saying? Like I can see how some people take the shit that he say personal, the way that he presents it. That's all I'm saying. It's a Max Kellerman. You don't really hear nobody with no smoke for Max Kellerman. He gonna give you his thought and his idea and tell you exactly what he's thinking, but he's conscious of the way that he's speaking about these people. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. The media do a lot of shit. They throw a rock and then hide their hand and act like they don't understand why motherfuckers is upset with the way that they. I don't think athletes in a general sense got an issue with you saying I played a bad game today. It's the way that you go on TV and say it and talk about it and present it. And again, it's entertainment. So I get it from the media side of it too. But you can't act like you don't understand why these motherfuckers be upset and frustrated with you sometimes.
That's a fact.
I get that aspect of it. That's a fact for sure. But let's remember though, all of the media is not Stephen A. Smith and stuff. All of the media don't
I
be on
agree.
TV and on ESPN.
I agree. And that's what I'm saying, bro. A lot of these motherfuckers will try to write some shit to get to ESPN or to Fox Sports. They all trying to get their bag. Like I say, I'm all for people getting their bag, but when you throwing motherfuckers under the, you know what I mean, throwing dirt on the nigga name to do it, that's a different
The
thing.
funny thing, a lot of the media though are former athletes, and athletes are being now chastised for having an opinion about athletes. Athletes that did play at a high level are now being chastised for having an opinion. So for me, I think it boiled down to like we just live in an oversaturated, sensitive era in life because they even when they get it, how they hell, I done heard people talk shit about shit that Draymond Green had to say on his podcast, saying that he don't know what he talking about. A four-time champion, defensive player of the year, one of the best role-playing, undersized big men we ever seen play on the defensive end, don't know what he talking about. So it's too much sensitivity for me.
You never gonna make everybody happy anyway, no matter who you are.
Exactly.
Never gonna make everybody happy.
Hey guys.
Yeah, what happened to Rod?
Hey guys.
He had something to go do at 2:00, I think.
Yeah, and I gotta get running here too. I know we didn't get through the topics of the list, so we'll save it for next week. But I gotta get running because I gotta be somewhere at 2 myself. So we're already over the 2-hour mark already.
Hey, that's why I only submitted the 4 because I kind of felt like this all was going, we all get long winded anyway, and we be deep in our conversation. That's why I only submitted the 4.
Well, then we have the impromptu baseball chat too. So that also
yeah.
Kind of. But yeah, no. So we'll go for next Sunday. R&B, it's your turn. You want to host?
Hold on. How y'all feel about doing a quick show tomorrow? Maybe like at 5, 6, something like that. Just maybe like an hour or something, just to do the list. So we don't want to keep getting backed up. Because I still got to give y'all my 2-girl list because I didn't know we was going to do it last Sunday. But, you know what I'm saying? So we can keep it, so next week can be power forwards and not doing small forwards over again.
Okay. Let me see how my work day goes because work's picking up. And I'll know by like midday, like around noontime. But I don't have an objection to that if you want to do that.
I'm off tomorrow, so just let me know.
All right. So yeah, so we'll keep on track for that, and I'll put it in the thread, and we'll go from there, brothers.
For sure.
All right, guys. Have a good day. Everyone be safe, and we'll see y'all on the flip.
All right, Mike.